Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with this channel or watching this channel for the very first time, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense because on this platform we discuss everyday issues and we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called uncommon sense. I see we already got some people who started the chat. First one, which is Denise. Good evening, daughter. Thank you very much for stopping by. And we also have the presence of Mixed Intellect. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. I think this is the first time for you to be on my platform. Thank you very much. I hope you feel at home here. And of course, we have the presence of MLS. People should date each other. Okay, good evening. Um, Thank you very much for stopping by. And of course, we have good evening. Thank you very much, Denise. Now, first of all, okay, as I stated many times, okay, um, we're currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And I just want to give, as always, a huge shout out to everyone who have subscribed to this channel. I wish to give a huge shout out to everyone who watches my content on a regular basis. And I also want to thank everyone who's seen fit to allow me to enter into your devices and to share my content. And I just want to say thank you very much for all the love and all the support that you have given me. I really do appreciate it. Of course, it's Friday night, which means quite a few people are probably out. Most likely, a lot of people are going to catch this stream in the playback, which is fine. Now, I'm going to ask that if you have not done so, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do prepare content, um, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live or to catch it on the playback. And just to let everybody know, when I do these streams on Friday, it's more of a um, free flowing discussion. Um, so I just want to say thank you very much. And also, if you feel inclined to wish to make a contribution, I have a catch app, and you can hit me up at dollar sign cute one and wine. Should you wish to make a donation, any donation, no matter how big or small, will be appreciated, and it will help me with my channel. Now, before we get into the discussion, um, which is my thoughts, we're gonna have another episode of what the heck this is. Okay. Now tonight's episode Okay, I apologize. Just having some technical difficulties. Now, tonight episode of What the Heck This is directed towards my haters. Now, until like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I didn't have to experience any feedback from the haters. And it just goes to show that my channel, as small and as microscopic as it is, being that I have only 116 subs, it's growing and it's going to create haters. And why? Some of it it's going to be regarding, okay. And I see we got a question regarding J-Lo and Ben Affleck's wedding. Okay. To be perfectly honest, I don't care. Hopefully, they'll be married for a long time. But unfortunately, J-Lo is kind of like the Latino version of Elizabeth Taylor. Have met several marriages and ending in several divorces. That's my take on it. If you don't like it, sue me. So, as I was saying, people are going to hate me because of my content. People think it's too boring, that it's not ratchet, that I don't go we don't have a Jerry Springer episode here on my platform. Uh, my platform is not for that sort of tomfoolery. It is meant to be a safe zone for people to share their points of views. And if we disagree, let us be agreeable and just show mutual respect. Also, I'm going to get some hate because of the people I wish to associate with. Okay? The last time I checked, everyone has a right to associate with whomever they wish. And if you have a problem with my content, if you have a problem with who I'm associated with, whether it be from the Latino community, whether it be from the African American community, whether it be by the biracial and multiracial community, you know what? I'm not your cup of tea. There are literally millions of YouTube creators that you can partake in. So if you don't like my content, just keep it moving. And I see here we have the presence of Don Armando. I'm just going to let everybody know, if you have not done so, please subscribe to his channel. And unless I am mistaken, I think he's going to go live tonight. I think at 8:30. In any case, I do have the notification. Yes, you know what, Don Armando, I can understand. Some people are not our cup of tea. We're not their cup of tea. Okay, that's the reality. Oh, it's next week. Oh, okay. I apologize. But in any case, I'll be looking forward to it. So again, and I'm going to say this, and I always say this at the end of my disclaimer. If you don't like the content, block the channel, or do even better yet, don't even bother to partake in my material. Okay, I am not taking a gun to anybody's head to listen to me. And I see here coffee is required to go in the morning. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna get into, yes. I agree, daughter. I agree 100%. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the main topic, which is my thoughts. Okay. Now, here are my thoughts for the week. First of all, of course, some of you saw my stream on Tuesday when I was doing a memorial to my mom, and I'm not gonna lie, it was extremely emotional. And to be perfectly honest, and I see we got a comment here, which is people on YouTube don't get laid. You could be talking about orchards in the channel and you get people offended. You didn't include roses, carnations, and daisies. You know what? That's the reality we have to face. And we also have the presence of the Blasian King. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. And I just want to let everybody know that Blazing King does have a YouTube channel of his own, and he actually did a live stream earlier today. So I'm going to ask that if you have not done so, please subscribe to his channel. Okay. So getting back to Tuesday, it was difficult, but can I see here? Adama said, "Hey, most racist YouTubers don't get laid." You know what? I don't know about that. Maybe it's true, but I needed to do something to honor the memory of my mom, and I'm sure my mother is in heaven, who saw it up there and saw that I miss her very much, but she continually lives in my heart. And I'm going to be doing another memorial on Monday for my older brother Albert because it's going to mark the 7th anniversary that my older brother passed away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a stream to honor his memory because the fact of the matter is by honoring the memory of these people, they will continue to live inside. Now, Denise said the original hate, I'm going to call it the Denise effect, LOL. When people get offended and angry for everything you say, no matter what. Oh my goodness. Oh, call it the Dynamo. Oh my goodness gracious. And also, Denise said, Dynamo, you're right. Getting laid is the key to lower level of cortisol, which is the stress hormone that also leads to cancer. Interesting. Okay. So then, of course, um, I did my stream regarding can a 3 or 4 become a wife? I think we already addressed that issue, and I'm going to say for the most part, no. Now, what I'm going to do is, since there is some activity, I'm going to drop the link. If anybody wishes to join the panel, they can do so. If they chooses not to do so, that's perfectly fine. And Denise, no, Denise actually put down, I know it sounds insane, but I have data to prove it. Interesting. Denise, would it be possible if you can DM the data to me? I really would appreciate it. Okay, and of course we have the Blazing King. Thanks, bro, for the shout. No problem, Blazing King. Here, what we need to do is we need to support each other as much as we can. Now I'm going to get into. I'm going to share with everybody my experiences with the biracial and multiracial community. Um, in all fairness, I've been okay. Okay. Okay, now this is let's see what Denise has got to say. Or we can call it the radical Latino effect because this irrational hate practice started on Radical's channel and people get mad at him for just breathing air out loud. And I see we also got Hazel in the chat. Good evening, Hazel. I hope that you're doing well today. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. Now getting back, okay, now getting back with the biracial and multiracial community, I have to confess, um, I did not know a great deal about it. I'm still trying to know about it. But this is what I can say. Um, for the most part, I've gotten a lot of love and a lot of respect. Now, of course, in every community, there are good apples and bad apples. Okay, and that's you're gonna find that whether it be the Latino community, whether it be the African American community, whether it be Asiatic community, whether it be the LGBTQ plus community, or the biracial and multiracial community. You're going to find good and bad in all, and it's perfectly natural. And Denise put down, I ran away from that space because there's so much unnecessary drama and craziness, so it's best for my criminal record to stay away from it. Okay. And I see we have a visitor. So the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host of the channel is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your right to the images to your channel. Some of the views that people might hold might be considered offensive to others. Those who appear to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol will be removed from the panel. If you don't like the content, you can block the channel. And we're going to bring in the king of the Hispanistas.
Hi, how you doing? No, I'm just messing with you. How's everything?
Okay. you know, Don Armando, I love your creativity.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, Radical Latino did it, so I was like, you know what? Let me just put something out there, so I'm not so at least certain people can laugh.
Yeah, but let me just okay, but let me just address as far as the drama that's in the biracial and multiracial community. Okay,
All right.
I'm not gonna lie. There's drama involved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Now, is it safe to say that their drama is any worse than the drama that's in other communities? I think the problem is it's more visible. Okay. Now, again, I could be wrong. It's more visible. And one of the things that unfortunately I was not brought up to speed with is all the politics that's involved with the biracial and multiracial community. Part of it has to do with the fact that you have certain individuals that have issues with identity. And then you have certain other individuals who are very active in the biracial and multiracial community uh, that have been the victims of some hate and attacks. And actually, one of them had children's services called a complaint against one creator, and actually that same creator was Zox. So Darth Goya, what do you say about all this?
I gotta say this: for somebody to call child services on you or anything like that, that's very unprofessional. And me being from the streets, I think that would actually warrant a beatdown. But
Okay.
that's all I got to say, because for a person to call child services on you just because of an opinion, and I don't know if the person went and put their face out there or their public information, but if a person's gonna go and call child services on you because they know that you're a good parent, but yet they just want to do something mean. I mean, I guess certain people they like doing that, but I think it's actually immature. And if the person happens to be affected by that call, I think that there'll be a good case of discrimination if you have all your documents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, Now, Denise said, I was under the impression that the community was supposed to be a safe haven for light skin and multiracial folk. In turn, it has become turned into an insanity syndrome. Um, like I said, unfortunately, it's become more vocal. And then Denise said, I heard of an interest gone off of some followers because of who they follow and block the followers in the live stream. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I'm not gonna lie and say there is no drama involved. Um, but it's very easy um, to make a comment. Unfortunately, these individuals are not here to defend themselves. And let me make it perfectly clear: um, my critique is not meant to be a negative towards the biracial and multiracial community. On the contrary, I have a lot of love and appreciation towards the community. It's just that some of them don't return the feeling, which is their issue. So,
Yep.
Darth Goya, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago that I think it was you. We were trying to actually have that thing about the biracials, but then nobody really came up to represent the biracials. It was you, me, and introvert Boricua. We actually said it.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? And I'm not gonna lie, it did bother me. Okay, and the
Right.
reason why it bothered me for the fall,
All right.
I wanted to educate my viewers regarding the community, and
Right.
as tried as we did, I mean, we have not experienced what they experienced. I mean, I did share information, but I mean, and I was aware that at the time there was a lot of static going on. There was a lot of controversy, and that I was prepared to deal with what if controversy should I provide it an open space on my platform.
Right.
Okay. Unfortunately, no one volunteered to join the platform. So,
Right.
and someone has suggested that I make another attempt. With all due respect, that's not going to happen. And I'm going to say why.
All right.
Um, you know, and I made it perfectly clear. My platform is a safe place for everyone to share their views. And then those who are the biracial and multiracial community knew I was having this discussion for weeks. So if they if they chose not to partake in the discussion, it is to their detriment.
Got you.
So, and to be perfectly honest, other than Radical Latino, I don't know too many other YouTube creators was willing to provide their platform as as a forum for them to discuss their their, their story, their history, and their issues.
Yeah, I know.
So, as far as I'm concerned, unfortunately, they 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 lost a golden opportunity to share their thoughts, the thoughts and views on a friendly channel because unfortunately they have dealt with a lot of hate, um, and a lot of it has to do with who they are. I mean, they cannot control.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just trolling and changing my names to something funny and everything like that. So, hope y'all laugh. But the thing
yeah,
is though, yeah. I mean, if you actually look at it, yeah, like Denise said, I think we should avoid these stream topics because it's
yeah,
going to be more emotional.
yeah, yeah. You know what? I agree. You know, it's just that, like I said before. Unfortunately, they dropped the ball on this one.
Got you.
So, okay. But as I stated before, and I'm going to state it again,
Right.
that in every community, there is good and bad people.
Right.
Okay. Okay. In our circle, there are good people and there's not so good people. And we already know what's the not so good people are. We don't need to mention any names, but it is well known who are the bad players involved in our community.
Yeah, I know, and I'm one of them. But other than that, I'm just joking with you. But the thing is, though, um, if you actually look at it, I mean, we are if we are trying to push knowledge and and positivity, a lot of people will try to look at us as the bad guys anyway. If you actually look at it,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you talk like in a nice, well mannered way, a lot of people would think that yeah, you're insulting their intelligence. I mean, we live in a sensitive world where people think that you say something wrong, I got to hate you. So
And I
that's
see you
how
have okay.
that's
Avoid
how it
the
is.
investors. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that's how it is nowadays.
Yeah. You know what? You know, maybe if I was properly schooled um, regarding the politics involved, I probably would approach it differently.
Right.
Okay. Because if that was the case, there would have been certain platforms that I would not have, I would not partake. And going forward, there's going to be certain platforms in the biracial and multiracial community um, I'm not going to enter. And then those, I'm just going to be very, 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 very careful on what I say. But
Right.
even if I'm very careful, I know there's going to be pushback because
Right.
unfortunately, you have some people who are very sensitive.
Hmm.
Okay, but I'm determined. I'm determined. You know, if you know, if it gets too crazy, I'm just going to bounce
Right.
because I'm too old for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and then Aditi said you can support anyone, but don't join discussion. Watch the fight from afar. And now we have Hazel. Okay,
Hello.
wait a minute. Just give. Good evening, Hazel.
Good evening. Hello, Armando. Hello,
Hey, how
Jose,
you
and
doing? I
everybody in the
mean,
Hazel.
chat.
hey Hazel, yo. I mean, shoot. I'm just saying, like, I'm like, we were like, I remember that it was like Sunday that me and Jose and Introvert, we were trying to get people, but I don't know to less. You know what? This is what I think that we could do. I mean, if we're gonna
Hi,
get,
Blazing King.
if I think that we could try to get certain people. I mean,
Okay.
we
Um,
could. All right,
I want to make something very clear here.
all right.
The day that this panel was supposed to happen with
Mm-hmm.
the biracial, I'm Hispanic, I'm Latina, I'm one of their allies. I cannot
Right,
speak for them. I don't know the biracial experience. I've had some, you know, some interactions, some confusion of my own identity of
right,
being biracial myself because there a lot of us do share phenotype with biracials because of our
right,
own ancestry. That I never said that I am biracial as in their experience, how they live. I just support them, right? Just like I support
right.
these spaces. Um, what happened was, in their defense, I cannot say too much because I don't know everything. I haven't been in that space for a long time. What I do know is that my life was threatened. Someone who does not associate with that space anymore has a grudge with a lot of the people in there. This person searched for me on someone else's platform that has nothing to do with the Golden Sphere. It was a cooking channel. And the person decides to threaten my life. At the same day,
Oh wow.
another content creator, this same person who threatened my life, put out
Right,
this person's personal information, the divorce, the whatever problem she's having, and they also threatened other people in that space. Again, this is someone that is no longer in that space but keeps harassing the Golden Sphere. Okay,
um,
and then
my,
they
my
threatened my life.
okay. So all right, I'm just saying because I get my life threatened every day by certain idiots, right? But I'm just saying, like, how did they threaten your life? Did they say they were gonna give you physical harm, or did they
Yes,
manipulate people?
yes.
Or during
I would hate for something to happen to you because you triggered a chain of events. This is what they told me. No, I
um
don't know this person. I don't know this person. I've never interacted with the person, but I've seen some comments this person made
right,
about another YouTuber.
all right,
And it was inappropriate comments. It was allegations of child pedo behavior.
all
And
right,
I mentioned it. I don't know that, like I said, I don't know this person. I just mentioned something they said, and that was enough for this person to go off and threaten me, right? So I guess this person was stalking me or whatever, and he left a threatening comment to me in another space. It was a cooking channel. Those of you who know that my husband is Trinidadian, and I'm into, he's into my culture, I'm into his culture. We have multiple cultures in this house.
right.
And it was a cooking thing. It was about roti. I don't know if anybody knows what roti is. It's
Yeah, I know
about
what roti is because I'm part West Indian also.
right. So I went on there, and this woman, she makes all kind of different delicious dishes, and I made a comment. She wanted everybody to tell what would you eat with this roti that I just made. So I made my comment of what I would eat it with. Right, and this person decides that they want to leave a comment under what I wrote on this cooking channel to threaten my life and that I should go take care of my half-dead child. I have a sick child, and he's not half dead, but he's a sickly child. And this person decided to make a jab at my child as well.
Okay. May I say something?
Yeah.
All right. So this person stalking you, and then I guess he tried to find some of this information about you.
Right.
So my thing is this. I mean, you could go and I mean, it was funny because
I did what I had to do with the police and with the FBI. I just want to leave it at that.
right.
I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do, and I'm not the only one. There's other YouTubers, there's other content creators in the Golden Sphere that did the same thing that I did, because this person is going around getting private information on people that are in that space and posting it on his own Facebook, on his YouTube channel, and then he's harassing their family members on Facebook. So this is a weirdo. This is a weirdo person doing that type of stuff, harassing them. They're not bothering him. He used to be in that space. Something happened before I got there where he's no longer in the space, but he keeps on harassing the people that's in it. At that same time, I told you this other YouTuber, her private information was exposed on that man's channel. And then there was a split. There was a big argument. Some of the content creators, some of the Golden Sphere are sick and tired of the drama, and they want to go one direction, and the other ones felt like they were being cast aside and they were being blamed for all the problems that was going on in the space. I am not going to take sides. I chose not to take sides. What was that?
So my thing is this, right? I mean, that's crazy that a person is giving out the personal information and everything like that, and the FBI and everything. You still live in New York City, or you live like in another state?
No, I live in another state, but I'm trying to explain why people did not come that day that you guys had that Theo Jose had that whole thing. So there was a split, and because of this harassment that's been going on, the people in the Golden Sphere decided to go on Discord and just not do panels. And you see that they're not having lives. There's very little panels going on and stuff like that. So it's not that they were trying to diss Theo Jose or that they didn't want to come into the space. Is that there was a lot of these content creators in the Golden Sphere that were having their personal information out there. And the guy was making threats not only to me, but he was making threats to other people. Again, I don't know this person. I just mentioned his name and something that he said about someone else. And then he came after me.
Oh, you know what's funny?
Yeah.
Not to mention YouTubers or anything like that, but Don Jose will know who I'm talking about. That sounds eerily like somebody that Jose and Denise don't care for times 1,000.
It's possible. It's possible. There's also people that do not like Hispanics that harass the Golden Sphere, but because I'm Hispanic and I support them, now that person was targeting me, making sexual innuendos at me on YouTube. And I'm going to tell you this, I didn't come into the YouTube for that bullshit. I came here to support my people, and I am friendly with biracial people. I don't have any problems with biracial people. I don't have problems with Hispanic people. Right. I don't have problems with black people either, but it seems like I'm a problem.
All right, so therefore, this is what you do. Like, I'm just saying in the personal realm or whatever. If a person, if these hateful YouTubers want to come up and actually try to make something personal or give out your personal information and everything like that, what I suggest that you and your husband do is get like legal gun licenses.
No, we don't worry about none of that. We already taken care of that, and I've had all of that taken care of for years before this YouTube stuff. I did what I had to do. I've been gone for a while, because I've been in the Discord. These people are still around. They're just not on YouTube. They've decided to go another route because they continue to get harassed. This person keeps doxing them, right? And then now it's like, okay, well, Theo Jose had that live 3 weeks ago where the biracials were supposed to come in. They did not come in because they went underground.
All right.
That's why they got sick and tired of being harassed. So it wasn't like they just didn't want to associate with us anymore, that they didn't want to be on the panels, that they probably didn't remember because people's lives were getting threatened and they were being doxxed. Several of them were being doxxed. So there wasn't any time to be going on a panel talking about biracials and explaining their life. They had a big problem. And then you know, I felt like I was being told to pick a side. They split. One wants to go one direction, one wants to go to another direction, and I decided I wasn't going to choose. I was not going to choose, and my life was already threatened. And then this person took a jab at my child. So I had to do what I had to do to protect myself. My husband, explained to me that maybe going on those panels wasn't a good idea. I shouldn't have been doing that. Of course, he's going to, be defensive and protect his family now. And part of that was to tell me, maybe you shouldn't have been going on these panels. People are unstable.
I mean, if you actually look at it now, me and my friend was just talking, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube. Lately I've been seeing that there's been a rise in instability, in mental instability amongst the community, which is called incels, and in Japan, and I guess in Japan, a person who really loves anime is called otaku. So therefore, there's been like a lot of mental instabilities right there because I guess prior to us, Don Jose, me, and you, Hazel, I think when we were younger, we went out and it was like
right.
You could actually
during this pandemic, all of that stuff, it already existed on YouTube. It exploded, and now it's just pure hate. Both genders hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
One wants this one. The one wants to kill them all, and they're in our way, and then the other one is saying the same thing. Oh, you're killing us every 5.5 hours. We're not gonna do nothing with you. We're not gonna be with you. And it's both sides. It's both genders, and it's all in all races. Nobody wants to be with each other. Nobody wants to talk to each other. The men, you a feminist. If you disagree with the men now, you're a feminist. If you do, if you disagree with the men, the women call the man a misogynist. It's back and forth. This and I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. What I did was I took a step back, and it seems like everybody else did the same. And that's what happened with this live that was supposed to happen 3 weeks ago on Jose's platform, and that nobody showed up. All hell broke loose already, and I think it was like a day or two before. And this person kept on doxing and kept on making threats, and going into the Facebook, the family members. Going into their Facebook pages and harassing the family members of people in the Golden Sphere.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that's why and then they haven't come back, They really haven't come back. I think only one or two of them has made a live. One of them he left the Blazing King. He made a live today. I was on it, Theo Jose was on. That guy is shy. He's very shy, and he has a strong accent. So you're most likely not going to get him to come on your panel.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just want to say thank you, Blazing King. Excuse me. I just want to say thank you, Blazing King, for stopping by. Please be safe out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted. I see. I'm hearing what was being said, and it's because you all don't know what really happened, and I unfortunately I got sucked into it. Some of them, like Gigi, Multi, they apologize for that, and it's not their fault. This person is unstable and he's doing these type of things. And they apologized to me that this person threatened my life. You know, and if you go into Mixed Fairy, she's biracial as well. Her name is Mixed Fairy. She made a short today. You will see this threat. If you go and look at her videos that she made today, you will see. And it's a short. It's like a, what is it? Like a 10-second or 20-second little video. They call them shorts. Look at it. And you will see the threat that this person made to me. Because she put it in the clip. So did Hybrid Vigor. Hybrid Vigor did the same thing. He did that I think 2 or 3 days ago. Because I gave them the screenshot in the Discord that this person did really threaten me. He did that, and it was in a totally different platform that had nothing to do with the Golden Spoon. So
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry about that live. I think I tuned in, but I was not gonna go on a platform. My husband and I just had a discussion. The whole fiasco happened like a few days before this live was supposed to happen, where the biracials were supposed to come in. All I know is that
All right.
whatever happened, it wasn't that they didn't want to come and be on your platform today. Is that they were going through stuff, and I was also going through stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, like I said before, unfortunately, I was not aware of the politics involved.
Yeah.
And to make it perfectly clear, when I entered into these circles, I mean, it was never to cause any friction or any drama.
No, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything wrong. Also, they're being very strict on who goes on their panels. When they do have a live, if they do go live and they have a panel and you know something happened between the two individuals last night. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw the playback. I actually fell asleep. It is whatever's going on is not. It's not an easy time. It is not an easy time when you got a total stranger who has a grudge, you know, and is doing these type of things. And then they drag me along in it. You know, I don't say anything bad about anybody. You know, if I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. But for you to go and threaten my life and then put my kid in there, you know, there's something wrong with you. That's why I said it before they split. Before there was that big drama that people need to get therapy, and I put that 1-800 number up there.
Yeah.
Okay. People need to go and get that mental health in order. It's okay if you are constantly angry and you don't know why. Everything gets sick. Your kidneys can get sick. Your gums can get sick. You can get liver failure. And your brain as well. Your brain is an organ that can get sick. And sometimes you're just not well. And whatever you're going through, you need to speak to somebody professionally. YouTube is not the space for that. This is not the space for that. And this space has become, not this space in particular, I mean the whole app. Not just this app, you know, YouTube, Facebook, all of them has been a place for people to spew their anger, their hate, and their instability instead of going to the places that they need to go to feel better. It's okay that you're not well. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. But Hazel, I'm at the point that there's certain biracial and multiracial channels. I'm not gonna. I just, frankly, I'm not going to join their platforms. I'm not even going to enter a comment in the chat. And
that's fine. Yeah, and that's your right.
And some of them, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to unsubscribe.
Right. You do what you need to, what you feel you need to do, and I totally understand that. Listen, didn't I reach out to you on Instagram when this whole thing came out? I stopped being all over YouTube, and I found you on Instagram because you were telling people, "Oh, I'm on another platform," and that's what I did. I didn't just disappear altogether. I reached out to those who I was comfortable reaching out to that I can get in contact with, and I reached out to you through Instagram.
Oh,
You made it safe for me. You made it very safe for me.
Yeah. But it's just that I'm not gonna lie. You know, uh, you know, I'm a little disappointed. And like I said before, my purpose is to just to enjoy interesting content, and not to cause any trouble.
Right. Yeah,
And,
that's what I
and
did. That's what I thought coming on here would do for me. And Chem123, I just months ago, this Chem123 guy made a whole live about me making fun of my looks. And I don't know who this person is. I just one of the people in the Golden Sphere told me, "Hey, this guy is making a live about you, and he's making fun of your looks and how you can't be Latina because Latinas are pretty and I'm ugly." And I don't know who Chem123 is. I was just in there. We were,
okay,
hanging out.
okay, he's a loser of an incel that lives in his garage, haven't had a meaningful relationship in whatever, has never left the United States, and does not speak Spanish.
Right. And that's the first I know that about him
oh,
now. And that was the first time I've ever had someone do that to me, at all on any of these platforms, whether it be Facebook or anything, where he dedicated a live to just trashing my appearance. I don't know him. I never spoke to him. I was actually talking to I think Angry Biracial, and we were sharing, ancestry and phenotype and how he's sometimes mixed up for a Latino, and I'm sometimes mixed up for a biracial. Yes, I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban, but one parent is one and the other parent is the other. We all know that a lot of us are biracial or mixed race, whatever,
right.
but we go by being Dominican, Puerto Rican, this and that. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All we
But
were
don't
doing
pay
was sharing.
attention. But don't pay attention to Cam because
Hazel. No,
Cam
no,
lives in
no
a Cam.
offense.
Cam, hold on, Don Armando. Cam lives in
Okay.
a garage, still with his parents. He's in his late 30s. This dude is horrendous. If you could only see how he looks like, trust me, his words are like the equivalent of like a trash can, and
You
not
know
like
what?
a good trash can,
Radical
like
Latino showed me what he looks like. Radical Latino showed me what he looks like.
yes,
And
he
he was the
is.
one who told me that man doesn't even speak Spanish, so he's talking shit about my look.
Yeah,
And I don't.
he's a loser. He has no one. He hasn't had sex in probably 13
500 years.
years. You know? So like no one look, he's the only person that can brag that not even COVID will touch him.
Oh my God.
Like just imagine with what morale does he call people ugly.
All right.
Yeah.
No,
Good
no
evening,
offense, Hazel.
Star.
I don't know what you look like, but I don't know if that person went up and said anything, because all the times that we have interacted, I haven't seen no more profile pic of you or nothing like that. For that person to go around and critique your looks, I don't really know what you look like. I'm just saying.
This
But it
happened
goes
like 3 or 4
but it
months
goes
ago.
to show also
And then
as
he took
well.
down the video. He took down the video and he
Not
blocked me
only
from
that,
going onto his stream.
not only that, Hazel is a married woman. I think these
Yes,
people were raised by worms because
Yeah, I think they are.
you don't talk about other men's
Yeah.
wives. That makes you a full blown weirdo. You get my
Yeah.
point? Like she's a
Yeah.
married woman. The only person that she needs to impress of the opposite sex is her husband. He is very
Exactly.
happy with her. He finds her hot. None of our opinion matters.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Got you.
Even with everything, my health and all of that, my diagnosis, I have fibromyalgia, I have rosacea, all these things, they can happen to anybody. Even through all of that,
I
he
mean,
does.
I also.
You have rosacea. It's not easy. That shit is painful.
I
It is.
mean, the
It
thing,
is.
it's like I didn't know that I had rosacea until because I've had like red bumps when I was a kid and everything like that.
Yeah.
But then it was like certain creams that took it away. But then if I went up and I didn't put my cream in a long time, I always had like red things, and
Yeah.
then it's like ashen and everything. So
Yes, you flake. Yeah.
so when I was flaking and everything like that, I was like, oh, I got
You don't
rosacea.
feel good. You don't feel good about that. You don't feel good about yourself. You feel hopeless, like this is never gonna go away. And my husband still cares for me. He even put me in a whole nother state so that my life could be better quality. You know, a lot of people don't like to do that, split their families apart, and he did a lot of sacrificing, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm not no Jennifer Lopez. Shout out to her. She just got married again.
Um,
Yeah, but
And
let's see how long the marriage is going to last, though.
exactly. But other than that, one thing I have to say is rosacea. I actually know what that's about. I mean, it's just that I guess I have like mild rosacea because I don't really go to the skin doctor like that. But the thing is though, whenever a cream works for me,
yeah,
that cream works for me. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I just buy another
yeah.
one. So in the time I've actually went with rosacea to the point that when I'm actually red and flaking, and then like say maybe a few months and stuff like that, when my skin is all good and everything, it will look like to the point that okay, yeah, I got burned. When the fact is, I was like, no, this is just rosacea. And as soon as my skin gets back and everything, my skin, my skin or something like that,
Denise.
it goes back. So
Right. Thank you, Denise. I love you. I appreciate your words of affirmation. I appreciate your encouragement. I appreciate your kindness. I do. I appreciate all of you. I just
Uh,
wanted to,
Hazel,
yeah.
I've seen what Kim 123 looks like. It is best that you don't have the experience of looking at, and
I
he
know what
looks
he
like.
looks like.
I mean, he
I
looks
know
like
what he
a.
looks like.
I mean, he looks like a sick rat.
Oh my gosh. I know. I understand. He's harassed a lot of people in the space. What I'm saying is I don't know that I didn't know this person, just like the one that threatened me. I don't know them. Number one, Kim 123, I didn't even know he existed. He knew I existed because he's watching that space, the Golden Sphere, and he was making fun of my appearance there. Now the thing with what's his name? The guy who threatened me. I only mentioned what he said to someone else. I don't know him personally. I never spoke to him. I just mentioned something that he said to someone else, and he did that. So, you know what? Then I don't need this. I don't need this whole garbage going on here. But I'm also not going to be taking sides. So if a space wants to split up, and one person has one idea and the other person has the other idea, either I'm just going to withdraw altogether, or I'm just going to support everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm an adult and nobody's going to tell me how, what to do. And then these people are not here to even defend themselves. I'm just saying that something happened in that whole space and they were being doxxed. I wasn't the only one being threatened. Some of them also their parents were being threatened. Some of their mothers, okay, were being threatened as well. And they decided to just not deal with what was going on. And they have something in the Discord that they do. I am still going to support whoever, leave some comments here and there. I wanted to go on your panel. It was only right because you've been kind to me. You've been making the effort to reach out to me on Instagram. Let me know when you're going live. All right. I went on Blazing King's live today and I'm going on yours. But this is not something that I'm going to keep repeating me do. Because I put myself out there thinking that people were adults and they were mature. I put myself out there and we had adult conversation. And then my own life was thrown back at me as an insult, and then using my own child as an insult against me, like jabbing at a sick child. You don't do stuff like that,
That's true. That is very true, and it's just so sad.
Yeah.
But I just want you to know, Hazel, that here it's a safe zone, um, not just for you, but for anyone that wishes to come on this platform and express their views. And even if we disagree, that's
Right.
okay because we
Yeah,
can
we could
learn.
disagree.
We can
Yeah.
learn in disagreements. I mean, how many times have I disagreed with Denise? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the next time that she's on my platform, we're gonna find something to disagree with. So it's it's like, oh, okay, disagreement number 6,800 and whatever. It's okay, but you know what? We respect each other and we love each other.
Right.
Okay.
And they attacked Denise too for her opinions, for harassing her, following her around, and all this other crap. I know that you got to be one weak son of a you know what to be harassing women and stalking them to harass them. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. And
But she's a beautiful woman too. She's also another beauty.
yes, she
And
is.
and people don't like for for you to have an opinion for some reason. They want to chop your head off. It's ridiculous. But I'm gonna go. I have some other things that I have to do. I just wanted to. You guys were in the dark, and you are not. Someone needs to say something. Because you were left hanging. I get it. I get it. You're like, what the hell is going on? And it's been 3 weeks, and you still don't know what's going on. And there's a lot of stuff going on. I
Got
just
you. It
wanted
was
to let you guys know that they're underground. They make their little videos here and there. Whatever they're gonna do, I don't know. I'm just supporting everybody. That's what I'm gonna do.
that's all you got to do.
Yeah,
And
I know.
thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, I
Hazel.
know. Yeah, I know. Gigi has a live, but what I'm probably gonna do, I'm just gonna enter whatever comments because I don't think I'm gonna. I mean, I don't know. Let me put it this way. At this point, I don't know how they view me, so I'm just gonna leave it like that.
That's a good idea. But you know what? You have your own platform, and I'll be here and there and everywhere, and I appreciate you being kind to me and not thinking that I was against you either or anything like that. Like I said, I'm just an ally for them. I respect them. I understand it. It's not easy being a colored person or a mixed person in America, no matter what your culture is. So I support them on that. But at the end of the day, I'm still Hispanic, and I have to support my own people too.
That's true, and it's just that, and I did want it to be an ally to them. So
Yeah.
at this
No, I
point,
know.
I'm not
Yeah.
at this point. I'm just going to take it that they don't see me as an ally and just leave and just keep it going.
Well, I guess they can speak on that. I really don't know. I don't go on the panels either, but I don't go on panels because of my own reason.
Yeah, I understand that. Unfortunately, I have no way to discuss this in private. So
Yeah.
so at this point, I'm just gonna accept the fact that they do not see me as an ally, and leave it like that.
Oh my gosh, Denise, you're a white man. You need to start coming out and telling the truth. You are a little blanquito. You are not Puerto Rican, okay? They're suspicious of you. I think she got something on you.
Okay, yeah, but
Well,
Hazel,
I'll see
can
y'all
you-
later. I
Hazel-
got to do something. I might come back. I don't know.
Okay.
But it was nice seeing y'all.
actually,
Okay.
thank you. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end this soon. But you know what,
Yeah.
Hazel?
Yeah.
Like I said before, my purpose is to show support,
Right.
and I was hoping that I would be accepted as an ally.
Yeah. Don't worry about it too much. Let's let some time pass and let's see what happens. But thank you for having me on your platform. Thank you for giving me some time. And
Sure.
I love you all. Thank you, Denise. I love you. I love all of you. Thank you for giving me a chance to explain at least my experience of what happened.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Okay, so what we're going to do is thank you very much for stopping by, Hazel. So what we're going to do is we're going to take final words. So, Don Armando, what are your final thoughts? Okay. Good night, Denise. Be safe out there. And okay. Well, you know what I'm going to okay, what I'm going to do is okay, well actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop to wrap this up because I don't think anybody else is going to join the panel. What I'll do is I'll just drop the link one more time if anyone wants to join. But as I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Excuse me. Just give me a moment. Um, you know, there's good and bad in every community. Yes, I will keep you in my prayers, daughter, for you and my cyber son-in-law. And I'm waiting for the day that we will be together. I'd rather be in hot as Haiti, LA, or cool as comfortable wintertime in New York. So the link is there. If no one else wants to join it, uh, what I will do is I will stop to wrap this up. Okay, and now we have the introvert Boricua. Good evening,
Hello,
sir. Yes,
and
welcome to
how you doing, Don Jose?
welcome to the Golden Sphere.
Hell no, I'm not in no golden sphere. That we have talked about it before. Yes, yes, I'm sorry. My bad for trying to join in late. I know that you were about to close up. It's just that I was checking. I was in the middle of something else, but I didn't. But since I didn't know exactly what you were gonna be talking about, so I just figured I would listen a little bit. It's only now that I tuned in a couple of minutes back when you still had um, Hazel. I mean, uh, I guess I will have to check the playback to pick up on what happened. But I mean, I was wondering what happened with her because I hadn't seen her, and I thought that whatever differences she was having with Golden had been settled. But okay, that
Okay,
that's that's kind of their thing.
well, actually, she was just explaining reason why she had to lay low because of certain circumstances. Um, if you catch it on the playback, you'll get the full explanation because I don't want to speak on her behalf. Basically on Fridays it's just more or less like an open discussion. I just give my thoughts, and a lot of the things I was talking about was my experiences with the biracial and multiracial community, and
Oh, okay.
some of the politics involved. And I was just commenting that there's going to be certain platforms in that community which I will no longer participate in.
Oh, I see. I see. No, I mean, one can only try, and I can only try to extend a friendly hand. But if it's not if it's not welcome, then there is nothing one can do. One cannot force it. I'm all for alliances. I'm all for being able to be on the same page with others. It's kind of like the whole thing of what was being discussed in the group chat in our group chat. On that one, we definitely, absolutely need to us Hispanics. We need to get on the same page. We need to.
I
I know it's gonna sound kind of like juvenile to say we have to assemble like the Avengers, but I don't think it's something too far off from that. But we do need to kind of like be on the same page and kind of like be ready to stand next to one another in solidarity. You see, because I don't know what's gonna come up. So we need to be ready because we're getting hate tossed our way, and we need to be on the same page, and we need to kind of like what happened in that live with Radical. You know that all of us were kind of like on the same page, and we're kind of like on a united front. That's how we need to be. I mean, we're gonna get hated on, and we're gonna get hate sent our way by a hate group. No. We have to be willing to give some pushback.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and that's when kind of like being on the same page and having alliances. That's why it is important. Nobody has to lose. Nobody has to lose their identity. Nobody has to lose who they are. What makes one the person that they are. But being able to having that alliance with people that share certain values and so on against somebody who is trying to bring hate one's way. I mean, because we're supposed to be the bad guys on that whole situation with what happened in New York. But no, the video is out there. The video is out there as to what actually happened. So no, it doesn't even have to do with race. Because we're being portrayed as you're a bunch of racists, and that's why what happened. And no, I mean, context is important. The security video tells the story. Hell out of here. I'll be quiet now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. I saw multi-strain, and the fact that the back and forth. I would suggest that you see the entire stream in its entirety, so you can get the full effect. But I did offer myself as an ally. And I think it's perfectly clear that they don't see me in that light. And I see we have Reese from Philadelphia on the chat. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. But no, but I'm gonna have to rethink. I'm gonna have to really seriously rethink the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'll check it out and get myself informed because I don't know what's going on, so I can't say anything. Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. I mean, we tried.
Yes, look, and the fact of the matter is, I think you are a witness. I also tried.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when everything got down with the channel be taken down, I mean, but you know what? Going forward, I'm not going to be so willing to give my support if it's not going to be received. And and I hate to say, and I hate this, and I hate to say this, but it's like they're shooting themselves in the foot when they're not, when they're not, when there are people who wish to be an ally, and then these people who are driving these people who want to be an ally away.
Oh, I see. I see.
And I see Mr. Yaganas in the chat. The problem, sir, is that unfortunately, there is no way I can discuss this in private. There's no way. Because I would prefer to discuss it. I don't want to I don't want to discuss it out on the platform, because basically what's going to happen is the haters are going to use that as more ammo for them. But at this point, I'm seriously thinking just avoiding the biracial, multiracial community completely.
Okay. No, I'm gonna check that playback then, so I can get the context, because it surprises me. It kind of surprises me that you're saying that. I mean, you're some. I know that you're somebody who gives people chances. So you saying that, and well, there must have been something bad going on. So yeah, check it out.
Okay, that'll be great, Mr. Uganda. I don't have their email. And at this point, let me put you this way. I consider myself very patient, but at this point, my patience is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I can, and the fact of the matter is, you can only extend yourself to so much. But
Yeah.
if I had their email, I would. If I have their email, I would discuss it. But at this point, I really have to. At this point, I'm going to have to rethink my involvement with the biracial and multiracial. I'm going to have to rethink that. And it's sad for me to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that okay. Okay. What happened? Okay, what happened, Mr. Uganda, is that, and I don't like to talk about it because Moti is not here. But what happened was Moti mentioned something about one program that she liked, and then Hybrid took it to the extreme and was calling her a feminist, and just kept going on and on and on, and it would not stop it. I would suggest, Mr. Uganda, that you view the stream in its entirety, because I don't want to misrepresent what Moti was saying. So, and and at this point, I'm thinking about just giving a wrap. Just because if they can't accept, if they can't, if they cannot accept me as an ally, fine. That's their choice. It's their loss.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's how they feel about it, and how they will they would rather have it, but that's all right.
You know what? I wish I knew. To be perfectly honest, I wish I knew.
But you know what it is? Maybe you don't know right now, but maybe eventually people talk. Eventually that can come up later on, and nobody's gonna be mad at it. Nobody is gonna be mad at nobody, and maybe there could be a conversation about that.
You know what, Mr.
So
Magana? Mr. Magana. I wish I knew what was going on.
No, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Eventually,
You know,
eventually that info is gonna come around. If it is important at all, that info is gonna come around and it's gonna show itself, and it will lay up at your feet what actually happened. If it's something important, it doesn't matter. Just focus on,
oh,
on what is important, on the people that are important, on your projects that are important. Focus on
yeah,
that. I mean, don't worry
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah, hey, introvert Boricua, how you doing?
Hey, el gran Armando, ¿qué pasó?
Yo bien, tú sabes. Aquí,
Ah, muy bien, muy bien. Yes,
um,
yes. Yeah, I kind of showed up a little bit. We were wondering about you. We couldn't hear you.
oh yeah, cause I currently had to step out and do certain stuff, but I'm back.
Ah, there you go.
I
That's good.
mean,
That's good.
Jose,
Yes.
you know about that personal thing that I was telling you about that coworker?
Yeah, you mentioned something about it.
Yeah. Well, it looks like that today, that guy almost got into a fight with another one of my colleagues because of whatsoever. And today, I was like in my job, we had like a ice cream day or whatever. He went and tried to steal an ice cream from an old Spanish man that works there. And the old Spanish man called me up and I told him like, yo, get the heck out of here. Get the heck out of there because this guy, he
Hmm.
was he started like maybe 2 fights today. And before anything happened, people had to break it up and everything. But this guy looked like he's on a warpath, but backed down every time somebody confronted him. I just don't get it. I mean, I don't see why the heck they don't fire this guy when it's like a whole bunch of confrontations, and it looked like that
Hmm.
certain people are going to get harmed one day.
Really? Oh,
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
is he connected? I mean, is he related to somebody management or something like that? That they keep letting him at the workplace, and he feels like it's one of those that feel that they own the place, and maybe they're connected with somebody higher management, and that's why they feel like they can do whatever the fuck they want. I mean, but that should
nah,
be it shouldn't be
management.
acceptable. Mm.
It's like management whatsoever. I guess is new, but there's a lot of people who are higher ups that they can't stand them either because every time is a new person that has a problem with them, and it's to the point that I've had incidences like the last incident. I actually cursed this guy out in front of HRs and managers and stuff. They were like, "Yo, you got to be sent home." I'm like, "Okay, this is what I said," and I was like in my fit of anger at the time. I was like, "You send me home, okay? You're gonna leave me with the one pay without pay for a day? All right, where he's at right now, because we're gonna fight." I told him straight up like that. He goes, no, for the safety. Nah, fuck the workers' safety. I want to fight this guy right now. Because if he's making me lose pay, let's do this. He's like, oh, the safety. I'm like, man, fuck the safety. I don't give a fuck if I even get kicked out of the job. Let's do this. And there was like, nah, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, I don't care. It's gone to that. It's gone to that point. And it's to the
Mm.
and it's not and there's like maybe 2 people within my company that feels like that. Me and the other guy who actually got into the competition today, from what I heard. And people's like, "Oh, do this, do that." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "We're tired of it." You know what I'm saying? We're tired of this guy thinking that he's gonna go and walk scot free, and he actually goes like in the locker rooms and such just to rob old men of their money and everything like that. And it's to the point that we don't respect this person anymore. Never have, tell you the truth. But even
Hmm.
more, we don't respect this person because the guy, the whole premise of this guy beefing with me is because I'm a good mate to my wife. Let me explain. on the days I was getting married, this was last year, right?
Mhm.
There was a woman of Dominican origin that used to try to ask me for money, try to say how good I was, how good looking I was, etc. But I was not into buying because I'm not buying into it because I know myself. I've seen these tricks before, and I haven't fallen for them when I was 18 or 19, and I'm not going to fall for them now. They're third world tricks, on how I call it. So this woman, I say that she's loose because she has a husband, she has like 3 children, but yet she's asking me for money whenever like say if I get not even a promotion, or like say if I get something extra in my paycheck for being a good worker, for being on top for perfect attendance, this, that, and the third. So I'm being I'm being that, and this woman always asking me for money. So I always refused her. Now this guy who's African American or ADOS, FDA, whatever the heck he is, I just call him dumb because he don't even know what those terms mean. Um, Wants to get with this woman, but yet don't know the language, does not know how to even say hi in Spanish, but yet he wants this woman because of her physical attributes. So, and that's what most of the guys always talk about, her physical attributes. But I'm not swayed by that. So I guess he sees that I'm just I went up and don't even pay her no mind. I'm working. The next thing you know, this guy went to try to call me all types of names and call me, derogatory words against the homosexuals and everything. And it got to the point that he actually tried to come up to my face one day, and me and him, I was actually going to swing on him. And it got to the point that it's been like maybe 8 times throughout last year and this year that I was going to put hands on this guy because this guy has an overwhelming jealousy of me. Like the guy don't like me, but yet he wants to try to comment on stuff that he don't know about or trying to make lies on me, saying like he sees me walking in the street, he went up and trying to tell people, oh, that my wife kicked me out the house, or um or if it's a woman and me and her we just chilling and stuff, nothing. And it was like maybe 2 3 guys, we just talking, having fun. The next thing you know, they're like, oh, this guy didn't come in on time, he might have spent the night with her or something like that. It's stuff that he does, and then he want to try to make threats towards me. I've actually said this to HR and everything. So it's to the point that it's it's like the HRs and stuff is not going to do anything. So certain people are just feeling fed up and they're going to swing on this dude. It's like no possible way. Like I'm trying to work and everything, but yet you have certain people that try to treat their job as a high school drama. When the fact is, I don't care about that. I just want to work and I want to go home. But no, certain people want to try to make rumors that do not make any sense when it's actually being told. Like if a person is telling somebody something about me, right? And I don't hang with them, I don't talk to them or anything. Why the heck one person is actually invested in another person and you don't talk to them at all?
Mhm.
That's where I see a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the cursing, sir.
No, it's okay. But let's change the topic because
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is
Right.
you cannot, I mean, you cannot compel people to accept an ally if they don't wish to. But let's talk about a happier thing. Like, for example, it is now 152 days until the first day of winter.
Oh wow. Oh, talking about winter, right?
Yes.
Um, are you gonna go to Vermont?
I have no plans to go to Vermont.
No, I'm just
Any
saying because that's where talking about winter and everything like that. That's where I'll actually want to try it. To try skiing and whatsoever.
Okay. But I don't think that's something that the introvert Rico will appreciate going to Vermont to ski.
Yeah,
No.
I think he would like jet skiing more. If I'm right.
No, yes, exactly, exactly. I would rather be jet skiing, not snow skiing in polar bear temperatures. Can't do it.
Oh, I'm like, come on.
Uh,
We're talking about maybe 10 degrees outside. That's not polar bear.
Well,
That's
polar
like
bear temperatures. I
no,
mean,
so I have
that's
bronchitis, hypothermia.
all right.
No,
So
that can kill me.
so introvert. I got a question to ask you. When you first came
Yeah.
to the United States, right? Did you live in the cold temperature or you have always lived in the hot temperature?
Before before moving to the States, well, I was born and raised on an island where it's always warm and rainy. Warm and rainy. It goes between those two things all year. So we
Right.
don't have seasons like that.
I
So
understand because
that's
I used to live in the Dominican Republic.
right, right. So it's like warm and rainy. It goes from those two states, and that's it. Now, when I first moved to the mainland United States, that was like in the month of April when I moved to, and I was to Mississippi, and it was still chilly winds
I mean,
at that time of the year,
what
and
part of Mississippi
then it
you live
started to
in?
warm up. It wasn't too bad. I mean, at first it was chilly, then it started to warm up when in the later months. I mean, it was already like no, my bad. It was like late March, almost April. So it was still a bit chilly, but just a few weeks later, it was already May. So we were entering the summer. So I didn't
Right.
have to deal with that so much. I mean, in the few years that I was in Mississippi, then there was like one time where I had to worry about the cold when it had gotten rather cold, and that's when I learned that I can't be breathing cold air because it hurts. It hurts me, hurts my breathing. I never had to deal with that in Puerto Rico, of course. So
Right.
that was something new that I had to learn. And after that, I just try to be careful, not to be breathing cold air because I can't take it. I can't handle it.
I understand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, of course, my definition of cold is a little different.
Right.
So, yeah, yeah. We know. I know. I know.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, go ahead.
it's like my dad before he passed away, I guess it was we had a joke and it was like when I was in his residence, my dad's residence, it was like 65 and my stepsister was asking me, um my like you don't feel cold? And it was like 65 in the Dominican Republic. I was like, no. And then we had to explain to her when you live in New York City, 65 is a hot day to us, while y'all in the
I mean, six.
Caribbean.
I mean, 65. That's summer. That's summer weather.
Yeah, but
No,
to them,
65 degrees. I have to wear a jacket. I mean,
No, you can go outside with short sleeve shirt and shorts.
you can. I can't. Like I have to. I have to wear an extra layer of clothes. That's how it
No,
is
so
for
what
me.
yeah, so what part of Mississippi you lived in on Boricua?
I was in the Gulfport. I was in Gulfport. That's down
I
on the
yo
coast.
yo, I used to live in Gulfport as a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
I
All
mean my
right.
brother my brother, he still lives out there. My niece is she's how should I say, she's a realtor now. So when I was living in Gulfport, I was a kid from 1989 till 1995. So I was living
Uh-huh.
there. So I was living there, and the last time I was there was for my aunt's funeral in 1998. But
Oh,
I still talk to my brother. He had he works for a power company and everything like that for a lot of years, and
right.
and I guess he was there when it was Katrina and the other storms also. So therefore, he has to be there when it's like a hurricane and such because people need their power and
Right,
whatsoever.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. He has to be there to restore the utilities and all. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah. I
mean,
mean,
when I first moved there, there were that's when certain a number of Hispanics were moving to the area because it had only been like a couple of years after Katrina, so there were uh, there were many Hispanics that were moving in. That was becoming a new thing. That was becoming a thing because
yeah,
before that there were many Hispanics on
yeah,
the coast, on the Gulf Coast.
yeah,
But after that, then you will find people that were mostly Mexicans, but there were also Central Americans and
exactly.
a Panamanian here and there, a Cuban here and there. Um,
Yeah,
Not some.
yeah,
I didn't. The only Dominicans that I knew were my friends that helped me relocate out there. Um, but there was in, but it was out in the Pascagoula area. That's where there
yeah,
were some Puerto Ricans.
Pascagoula, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
because
in the
yeah,
Pascagoula area when you're exiting, when you're about to leave the state. That's where there were some Puerto Ricans, but that was a bit far from where I was. That's not where I
yeah,
was at.
because I know that. Okay, when is in Gulfport, when I used to go to the church, right? Then you had to go. Then there was Bay St. Louis, right? And then
Hmm.
when when you was on like around when you went to Tea Garden Road, I forgot what that road is, but then when you take that road, right? I mean, when I was a kid, it was Gay first. Then it was the hotel. Then it was the Grand Casinos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When they first came out, that's where I just used to like to go there. While everybody used to go and eat and such, I used to go there just to play arcades. That was the thing that when the casinos came, that's what kids used
Yes.
to do, go to the arcades. That's where I had my fun. And then
Ah,
there was another hotel that was supposed to another casino hotel was supposed to come through, but then I didn't stay in long for that because I went back to New York.
oh, I
So
see, I see.
so
Oh,
so there's
how do you, there you go, there you go. From New York all the way down to Mississippi. Wasn't that too much like a culture shock to you?
I mean it's funny because this was when I was young because
Ah, okay, okay, okay. So it
prior
wasn't
to
so much of a big deal to you, maybe.
yeah, because prior to that I was living in the Dominican Republic with my aunts, and then I
Yeah,
stood 1 year in New York, and then went down south with my other aunt. So it was not really like a culture shock. So
ah,
when certain people to be like, "Oh, you're not this, you're not that," well, I guess where I was at when I was younger is
yeah,
I guess is a reason because of that. But other
yeah,
than that, certain people will not get it. And then when I
yeah.
talk about my background, I am deemed a liar. I'm like, you can't even go and tell
Uh,
your personal story anymore.
Um,
okay.
ex- Excuse me. I just want to acknowledge the fact that right now there is 10 people viewing the stream, and I would appreciate if we can get some more likes, please. Thank you very much. Thank
Yeah,
you for
hit
all the
the
people.
like button.
Yes.
Right.
Say, introvert, when you gonna be doing another stream?
I had a subject for tonight, but I guess if nobody's gonna be doing anything, we could do a bit of a hangout, open topics Friday, something like that. I could schedule something for later.
I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I think I'll be down for that.
Yeah. So,
Okay, okay.
I just want to show my appreciation because right now I have 116 subscribers.
Okay, okay. That's good. That's good. No, no, but I guess I could exit I could exit the stream and set up and send you a link so you can join me, and I'll just play a video or something that is not gonna get me a copyright strike, because I'm still learning all of that, because I understand that there are certain things that you can't play because they're copyright protected, and it becomes a bit of a I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. Okay, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the link one more time. If anybody wants to join the panel, by all means, don't be shy. I know, I know what that we did. It did kind of got a little down, but the fact of the matter is, I love these open topic Fridays. You get a chance to discuss whatever's on your mind. So that's something that I'm going to be doing on a regular basis. Um, I
Okay,
know.
I guess I'm gonna have to pick a different day if I'm gonna be be doing kind of like the same thing, because no, because I had a subject, but there was some info that I had to gather, and I didn't do that. So I had to be a little more dedicated when it comes to uh, getting into a particular subject. But yeah, I kind of wanted to do a continuation, and maybe send a link to a few people to get them to join. But it's gonna be, I don't know if it will be called Freaky Friday. That's not very original, I know, but if it's open topics,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, originally it was going to be Spicy Wednesdays, but now that Denise is going to be airing her live streams on Wednesdays, I'm going to have to call
No,
it Spicy Thursday.
Wednesday. Well, I have a name for that, but you could call it Wilding Out Wednesdays. I mean, and you go off at somebody or something.
Well, I mean, we
I
did
mean,
have an interesting discussion last night regarding can a 304 be a wife?
oh yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know what's going to be discussion for next Thursday?
yes.
Sharing stories about how you lost your virginity.
Ah, okay, yeah. I saw something about that.
Yes. So, of course, my how I lost my virginity in a rather unique way.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
In the most unlikely of places. Yeah, you have talked about it. Wow. Yeah.
oh, I never thought I would lose my virginity in a
Yeah,
church
so
trip. Okay,
Hmm.
and I see we have Mr. Uganda. Let's see if I can
hey,
add
Mr.
him.
Uganda.
Good evening,
Hi
sir.
everyone. I yeah, I'm a little bit drunk, but
Oh.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, I
well,
literally came in like an hour ago. So I was listening to your live, and I guess I'm only gonna chime in on the bit where it piqued my interest, which was um, I guess things aren't going too well for you in the golden sphere. Um, yeah, I would really encourage you to reach out to Multi. I did go on her videos because I was trying to look for her email because she hasn't put in her biography. So I was like, yeah, it is a little bit difficult to locate her email. I looked in two videos, I couldn't find it. I would suggest that come to the next live stream that they either of them have Golden Goddess or Multi, and just request the email, and you can sort of discuss the misunderstandings over there, because I actually do like listening to you on the panels. I feel like you're one of the regulars that, yeah, I feel like you offer something different. I like the input you give. You offer like a different character to the space, like mixed what's her name, the future is golden, hybrid, Hazel, Lasian, like all of you guys offer so much to the space. I just think that it's worth you guys just talking behind the scenes, because I think maybe there's a miscommunication that occurred. But yeah, just do your best to sort of do it behind the scenes.
I will request it, but I don't know whether I will be given Maltese email because, to be perfectly honest, I don't like to discuss any disagreements out in the open. I mean, even before all this went down, I prefer to discuss it in private. And the thing is, they already got enough garbage. I don't want their haters to use whatever misunderstanding as another bullet against them.
Right, that's true. I mean, it's already out there now, though, because there's a few people watching the stream, so I think it's already going to find its way back to them anyway. I think the biggest thing that's happened in this space is that I think everyone respects everyone if we come to each other as people, rather than bringing it onto the panels first. And so, because in real life, for example, if you fell out with a friend, your friend would hear it before panelists hear it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like as you guys are pretty cool as far as I can tell, it's nothing that can't be handled behind the scenes, and we have to really activate that grown part of ourselves. As much as we hurt each other, as much as misunderstandings can sort of make us feel like we've been disrespected, we always have to operate in our grown energy. And so definitely find some way to get that email. I'm going to try and make Golden Goddesses live, but it's really early here in the UK, and I'm about to pass out. So I'm hoping that you get the email for either of them, and you just sort of, just discuss what happened, because I think that's what they did, and they really do value that when people bring it to their attention outside of YouTube. That's one big thing I've noticed, that they really do appreciate that.
I would, if they will give me their emails, I would do so. I would try to discuss it. But the impression I'm getting is that somehow it seems like, at least as far as Multi is concerned, there's an issue with me. And I really tried, to be, to be, to show my support, and but I'm not going to impose where I'm not welcome.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Don Jose.
No,
Yeah.
Let it take its course. I mean, if you have an opportunity to reach out, but leave
Yeah.
it at that. I mean, don't
that's what
be-
I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. And certain platforms in the Golden Sphere, I'm not going to participate. I'm sorry.
I mean, as far
No,
as
that's fine.
you and Gigi are okay, as far as I can tell. I don't think I've attended all the live streams, but I mean, I was a little bit puzzled as to why there were certain issues, because everything seemed okay just a few live streams ago. I'm pretty sure you and Gigi are okay, though, as far as I can tell. So I hope to see you in her live stream later on today, if that's possible, that is.
If she will accept me, I will participate. It's okay.
Give it a try. Give it a try. Don't think too much about it. Give it a try. Try to contact. If it goes through and you can talk, great. If it doesn't, whatever. I mean, it's not your loss. It's not your loss.
Yeah. I'm following your channel, Mr. Ugando.
Oh, I mean, I don't post anymore. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I'd rather just support people I like, because I mean, life is too short. Like, I like a bit of the messiness, but when it got really ugly in the space, and it just became really, really, really bad. I just want to support people who are cool And so that's why I wanted to just sort of chime in here and just try to help where I could. I'm not a peacemaker. The only people who can make peace in a situation are the people themselves, but I do want to
Right.
offer like that perspective. So yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Like I understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do appreciate your input, Mr. Uganda. And like I said before, and my whole point is just to um, show my support towards the biracial, multiracial community, and um, and to be an ally.
Perfect. I mean, I haven't really listened to your show because I mean, it's during the week I'm just too busy to listen to most shows, but if it's at the right time I'm able to sort of peep in here and there. But yeah, I'm really happy. I've listened to your show in the background and I just decided to comment when I felt like I could add something. But no, I really like the conversation. And yeah, thank you for doing the live stream. Again, I hope to see you in Gigi's live stream. I'll have to watch the playback, but I hope to see you in the comment section. And like introvert Borukua, sorry if I mispronounced that, by the way.
Yeah, it's not equal. It's all right. No problem.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, like he said, it's a case of making an attempt. It's not a case of worrying. Worrying is
Right.
something that, yeah, worrying is something you shouldn't exhibit. It's not good for you. And like you said, the only thing you can do is make an attempt, but it's not your job to worry about anything. You understand what I'm saying? So that's it.
okay. Well, thank you very much. And I just want to my audience know that if you have not done so, please subscribe to Mr. Uganda's channel. He does have interesting content. Now I'm gonna try to watch more of your material. It's just that I subscribe to like multiple people, so sometimes it's a challenge to catch someone's material.
On me, honestly, it's fine. Like I'm not even uploading. I'm barely even uploading. I'm not even uploading. So honestly, like I'd rather just watch interesting content. There's way more interesting content out there. I like the panels. I like learning about the biracial. I'm monoracial. I mean, I think I just sort of gravitate to the biracial spaces because I feel like it's just different, like, but I feel like I get what's being said. Granted, I don't get a lot of it. A lot of it's really confusing to me. Like a lot of it, I'm just like, it doesn't make sense. But
Mhm.
it's about a willingness to sort of understand the perspective. I was just in a milkshake shop with my friend just maybe 2 hours ago, and we were just like, we wouldn't know what it's like to be biracial because it's just such a different experience. The more we deeped it, the more we were like, yeah, we really don't understand what it would be like to grow up in a household that's biracial,
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just different.
No, what makes it different because, as you probably know by now, the rest of us on the panel, we are what is called Hispanics or Latinos. I don't know if you have a good understanding of what that is. That has to do with what is called Latin America, and we come from different countries in Latin America that speak Spanish. Now, the racial dynamics are not exactly the same as in the United States, and whatever they tell you from here in the United States, they might try to tell you that the Latinos are equally racist and they're equally colorist as people in the United States. That's not true because the Spanish colonization, when it came to race, the dynamics were not exactly the same as it was with the colonization of the North, what is now the United States, and later with the colonies and the racial dynamics and how they saw race and how more obsessed they were with race and how it is still like in the United States is very race obsessed. And in Latin America there might be issues somewhat of colorism, but the hatred of race is not exactly the same because colonization by the Spanish didn't happen. The dynamics were not exactly the same. So that's why us usually we identify with our cultures, even though we have different complexions. Particularly us that we come from the Caribbean, because there is such a thing as a Black Hispanic or Latino, and there is also something as a white Hispanic or Latino. But we are more likely to see each other by our cultures and by the flags that represent us rather than race. A lot of people in the United States don't understand that. They're dead set on believing that that we care more about race first, more than anything else, and that's not necessarily the case. I mean, we're tend to identify more with our cultures that takes more of a priority. Yes, yes, because of colonization, the legacy of colonization, there could be somewhat issues of colorism or teasing or in the Caribbean because there were slaves in the Caribbean also. There could be somewhat of an issue with colorism, but we're kind of growing out of it now in the later generations. It was more of a thing after slavery in the late 19th century in the Caribbean. But in like Mexico and in Central America, there was a different version of colorism, but it had to do with discrimination against the natives, the ones that were looking more whiter versus the ones that were natives, because there were at least in what is now called Mexico, there weren't that many African slaves, so it wasn't the whole colorism wasn't so much about the Africans, but it was more about the brown natives. So it depends on where you are. It depends on where you are in Latin America. But the obsession with colorism, what little there is in Latin America, it doesn't compare to how it is in the United States. It just doesn't compare. So sometimes we try to listen to what is going on with biracial people in the United States and what they have to deal with, because a lot of the time, usually, when a biracial will have a white parent and a black parent. And the thing is that the white parent comes from one culture, the black parent comes from another culture, right? And that's the part that we us Hispanics is missing, because I could have, and I did. My mom was white. She's now deceased, and my dad was a very brown Puerto Rican. Both were Puerto Ricans, but the thing is that we identify with being Puerto Rican first, and the culture first, and the complexion that comes secondary. That's not really that important. So that's the big difference. I mean, even though my parents have different complexions, but both of them came from the same culture, and they identify with the same culture, and they wave the same flag if they were to wave a flag. You see the difference? I mean, because the United States is more multicultural. It was multicultural even when there were only natives, you see? So for people of mixed race in the United States, it represents something of a challenge, figuring out what to identify themselves. It becomes more of a problem for them, and we're just trying to be supportive of it, because we don't really deal so much with that, and sometimes they have to do this life trying to figure things out, because sometimes they do have to deal with issues of identity, because they're trying to figure out what the identity of themselves is gonna be. Maybe they can't identify as white, but maybe they're not trying to identify as only black, you see? So they're trying to identify as biracial, kind of like making it its own ethnicity or race. You see, that's what it seems to be about, the golden sphere, you see? Because they are somewhere in the middle, kind of like the golden color, not one race or the other, but somewhere in between.
Yeah, I get what you're saying as far as because North American racialization is pretty unique, and it's pretty because it exists on the extreme. What I've noticed is that one thing that Americans, and this is probably all Americans, they don't really understand that a lot of people who travel to North America are racialized when they enter into North America, or other places in the West, like the UK, before they come to North America, they just have their culture. So they don't exist as, let's say, white or black. They exist as, like, let's say in the African case, they exist as Yoruba or Igbo or Nigerian, Ghanaian. And then when they come into North America, now they're told to be black. It's one of those things where it's like people don't identify with race first, but culture first. And I think because the American dogma is very much about, as much as it's multicultural, it can have a very intolerant tone in that there's so much freedom of expression that you can pretty much tell people what they need to believe. And so I think a lot of the discourse or a lot of the disagreement that happens between foreigners and Americans is that not Native Americans, but American people can freely express how much race is the biggest factor. And so they can sort of put people into submission by making them identify as race first, even though they want to identify as cultural first. And there's a lot of struggle because they struggle to see that some people don't see themselves as a racial person first. They see themselves as a cultural or ethnic person.
Right, which is what happens with a lot of us Hispanics, yes.
Yeah, they might see themselves as Puerto Rican or Jamaican or Dominican first. They don't see themselves as multiracial, black or white first. And I think it's like the catch-22 because it's sort of trying to find a balance of getting people to understand that the North American reality is not the reality that exists elsewhere in the world. Other places in the world are probably more tolerant. They're not as focused on race. They're more so focused on the identity that's predicated in the culture and what's passed on in the culture, as opposed to the color of your skin and the race you're designated to. I mean, I didn't think, because I'm in the UK, and so I grew up as a racialized black person. I understand I have Ugandan in my name, but I'm of Ugandan descent. I was born in the UK. So I do get the whole racialization aspect, but I have noticed that due to like the very tumultuous racial background of North America, the significance that is attached to race is much more than I attach to race. Like for them, it means much more that you're assigned as black than I'm saying that it means to me in the UK. For them, it means, for example, that you reject the notion of white supremacy. And for them to be black, it's to sort of stand in isolation to other groups per se, and to sort of recognize the backdrop of slavery. But for myself as a black person in the UK, I don't have that history. And so for me, being black is just being black because that's all I knew. But it means differently to black people in America because their identity their ethnogenesis came out of essentially being oppressed and having to form an identity in the context of a group that didn't like them and sort of having to make their way, for which I do empathize with that. It just doesn't exist for everywhere in the world. And I think for the biracial people, it's sort of a difficult experience because in as much as the ethnogenesis of Black Americans existed in a very, very harsh racial climate, biracial people are slap in the middle. At least the biracials that are born in America and come from Americans, it's sort of a difficult identity to sort of tennis because there's sort of like a line that exists there where you have the side, you do have the white and black side, which is pretty much just your biological split. But for America, the race means much more. And so for black people, the black side means coming out of slavery, and the people who enslaved them were white people. And for white people, it might just mean not being the people who went through slavery. And so it's very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. But because what happens, something that happens when it comes to race, because it's so race obsessed. It's such a as a country, it's so race obsessed. There are people that come from other parts of the world, that Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and they might have somebody from Western Europe might have differences from somebody who is from Eastern Europe for whatever reason. But both of those people that are from different parts of Europe, they come to the United States and they become white, and that's it. That's basically what they just become a race. They just become white because they're from Europe, even though they're from different parts, but they just become white. And if there are any privileges that come with that, they're more likely to enjoy it because they're racially white. Something that I have observed with Asians is that you can have Asians, and if you know about the politics and the history of the last couple hundred years, that there have been instances in which different nationalities of Asians have fought each other, have been in conflict with each other, and um, like for example, what happened in the Second World War when the Japanese took control of certain parts of China and Korea and so on, and there were very brutal genocides, maybe maybe there were the Southeast Asians, those that may have suffered during the Vietnam War, that disaster that was called the Vietnam War. But maybe there were Asians of that area, that region, like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand. Maybe there were some of those people that didn't get along with each other so much. But the thing is that people from these places after the war, they come to the United States and they just become Asian. They just become Asian, and I see them. I have seen it where I work. See somebody who is from China, the other person from Laos, the other person from Vietnam, and they will still, even though they are different nationalities, they can still sit together and talk and maybe have a meal together because they become Asian. I mean, they don't get so hung up on maybe the cultural or nationality differences that they have. I mean, if you don't know their nationalities, you will think that they were all from the same culture, from the same nationality. Because us Westerners, what the hell do we know about being able to tell them apart by their appearance? We don't know jack about that. But that's something that I have observed. I mean, even though there might be differences among them when they are in Asia, in their part of the world, but if they come over here, they just become Asian, and they can set aside kind of like their differences, and they can still get along, and I don't see them beefing or anything like that. So they under, they kind of understand that something that seems to happen, at least on the YouTube sector. On YouTube, it's like when there are certain um, African immigrants or black people that are from the Caribbean that come to the United States. There is a certain faction of African Americans that don't like him, but that's an argument that I can't get into because I'm not the best person to talk about it. But I have been told that it's because sometimes they have their differences when it comes to how immigrants, black immigrants, African immigrants perceive the black American. But I'm not
Yeah,
the best person to talk about that, and that's why sometimes they beef. Then sometimes there is static between them.
I could talk about that because I'm part Caribbean. So
Yeah,
so when I was growing up and everything like that, since I have multiple cultures or whatever the case may be, um, certain people, like from what I observed from African Americans, is that you have some that they know about their own world and everything like that, and then you got certain people who know about the world. And when they talk about the world and everything like that, they're like, okay, you got somebody who's knowledgeable, but then you got certain people that they try to reject knowledge, and they want to try to bunch us up just because of what happened like in 400 years ago. They was like, oh, we're supposed to be brothers, but yet the way that a certain but yet you got certain people that don't know what certain people in Africa did, or how their ethnic customs is. They think that all Africans are the same, or all Caribbeans are the same, when in actuality they're not. And now you have certain people who are in the African American community that they're trying to push, like, oh yeah, you better believe in this because this is what our ancestors believed in or whatever. When the fact is, some of them didn't even take a genetic test to know where they're actually from, to go and try to tell another person you got to do this or you got to do that because this is what we're doing right now. So there's a little bit of that. I know that in the UK that the racial dynamics is a little bit different. Maybe you could actually elaborate on that, Mr. Ugando.
I mean, this is the thing. In the UK, it's sort of, what I will say is that I don't live in London. That's what I will start by saying. If you talk to a Londoner, you're probably going to get a very stereotypical racial picture painted, as far as, like, case in point, maybe police interactions, black people and police interactions, maybe their perception of women in their group versus men, all of this stuff. It seems like similar viewpoints come from Londoners, black Londoners, like it is in the States. But I don't live in London, so I tend to have a very, very, I don't know what to say, but it's very, very, I don't want to say untainted. Yeah, untainted. I don't have a lot of sob stories around my skin color. I don't have bad interactions with the police. So I might not be the best person to speak on the racial racial dynamic in the UK, because I found that every time I speak to black people in the UK, we just don't have similar experiences.
Right.
What I will say is this, right, is what happens in the States is that identities become flattened. So you're assimilated into groups, into groupings, and so they sort of blur your identities into things that are easily identifiable. So rather than identify you as Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, it's just easier to flatten people as Asian. Same in the Caribbean. If they look like they're black, whether you're black, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, you're all just flattened as black. It's just the way the US is, unfortunately. It has its pros and its cons, because what I will say is that, for example, I like it in the sense that I remember there was like the thing in Uganda where Idi Amin was expelling the Indians. There was like a whole bunch of social issues to do with the Indians in Uganda. I won't begin to get into it, but Black Americans
I've read the stories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Black
I've heard a little bit about that, and that I understand that had to do because they were draining the economy for themselves, and they weren't kind of like giving back, contributing back to the country. But continue.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've read as well. Because it was more so my grandparents' generation, but Black Americans were really supportive of Idi Amin. And the prime reason why they were supporting him is because they identified him as black, and so the flat blackness aspect is good as far as being able to extend a sort of helping hand internationally for black people, as far as if you look like you're darker skinned and you have, let's say, a Negro phenotype, at least with the Black American community, it would sort of push them to support your cause, especially if it was in opposition to other racial groups. So apartheid, for example, I imagine that Black Americans were very supportive of the Black South Africans, not only because they were in opposition to white South Africans, but because they could see them as black. They didn't have a sort of ethnic perspective. It was more of a racial one. And the thing with racial, especially flattened racial perspective, is that you can sort of overlook the differences as far as the food you eat, the culture, the dances, the languages, and you can just see the color. And so it's easy for Black Americans to support international quote unquote Black communities because they readily flatten people's identities. And I think it has its pros and its cons. I guess the negative is something that ADOS is now starting to talk about, right? Because ADOS might have seen that flattening the Black identity or flattening identities per se meant that they could be erased when other quote unquote Black people from other Black countries have come over to the US and can now take concessions that were meant for Black Americans. And so, you know, this whole being everyone as myself, stuff like that, it does have its pros and its cons. But like you said, introvert, it's a conversation that I guess Black Americans would need to have with other other Americans. Cases like Africans who've emigrated to America, Caribbeans who have immigrated to America, and such and such. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's a very, very nuanced topic.
Yeah. So no, but I understand it. When we're gonna Don Jose.
No, I just want to appreciate your input. I mean, it's been very educational. Thank you, Mr. Uganda.
No problem. But yeah, most hated Dominica. I'm sorry I couldn't answer your question as far as the UK dynamic. I mean, if I was to sort of summarize it, I'll just say that the UK, to me, because we're mostly, I think at a point in time, it was mostly Caribbean people who constituted the majority Black people in the UK. But the numbers have dwindled over the years. To my knowledge, I'm not saying this as 100% legitimate fact. It would have to be cross-referenced by statistical data. But from what I've heard, the Black Caribbean population has sort of dwindled because now we have a biracial category, and I guess some of them have filtered onto that side. But Black Africans have come here in numerous numbers, and so we have a high percentage of Somalis here. We have a lot of Nigerians and Ghanaians and Ugandans and all of this stuff over here. And so while we do have a racial context that operates in the UK as far as our interactions with people of different racial groups, we do operate heavily within our cultures that we brought from Africa or that our parents brought from Africa. You know, what I would say is that pop culture is what's really keeping Black UK people together, because we can sort of bond on the shows we watch, like Love Island. We can sort of bond through the American celebrities that we listen to, you know, pop culture and things that seem ethnically Black, things that we should be expected to know, like slang, like, you know, let me just name a thing, like assigning things as ghetto, saying that someone's hood, saying stuff like let's link up. All of these slang terms in pop culture, like drill music, a lot of these things serve to act as a adhesive that bonds us together. But we do also have our cultures which distinguish us. So even with myself, as much as I'm very much British, because I've grown up in British culture,
right,
I've magically found myself with a Ugandan person. And so I don't think I would have gravitated towards a Ugandan person had I not had a sort of keen eye to get with someone who gets my parents' culture. And so I think it's important to know that it's with the Black population in the UK, you have to appreciate that a lot of us are African, and we see ourselves as having African roots that come directly from the continent, like that. Yeah.
I mean, like how I see myself is like, you know, since on my mother's side, her parents came from St. Kitts and they immigrated to the Dominican Republic, and then that's where my mother was born. And then my father, he was straight Dominican. So when they came to the United States, it was a different dynamic, because my mother, since she actually came to the United States already knowing English, she didn't have to struggle as much as some other Latinos that did not know the language, because she already knew the language, since English and Spanish was actually spoken in her household. But my father, I know that he had to learn English for a while and such, because he grew up mostly speaking Spanish, where most of my own family members, even to this day, in the Dominican Republic and here speak Spanish. And when I was growing up, it was like, my mother, it was certain people, they try to tell me who I was and everything, or what I wasn't. But my mother always used to say, whenever I met like a racist Spanish person or Latino person, she always told me, "Donde está tu abuela?" That means that if anybody,
Oh,
if you're gonna go around and try to tell me where I'm from, like where your grandmother's from, and
yeah.
it was how should I say? It was very interesting living in the Bronx at that time when I was growing up, because you had some Dominicans that rocked with me, certain people that didn't, and even it was like maybe I'll say a month or 2 months ago, I got into a discussion with a guy that did not believe, to his knowledge, that he thinks that I was African American. So me and that person, we got into a debate, and I actually stood my ground, and I told him like, "Hey, this is what I am. I might sound like you, I might look like you, but this is where my parents are from. So you could call me African American, what you want, but at the end of the day, I know where I'm from, and you can't tell me just because of a generalization of how I speak or how I look of where I'm actually from, because there's a lot of people who actually sound like me and they speak better Spanish than I do. But me living in New York and living in the neighborhood that I lived in, I can't help that I sound a certain way or look a certain way. And certain people will not get that.
Yeah,
Right.
that's something that uh, when it comes to our identities, when it comes to your identity, Armando, that's something that is for you to define, and nobody can do that for you. So
Exactly.
it's but I don't know. I'm not trying to beat on on New York, but when it comes to how the social ecosystem that it is kind of unique, but you have to deal with people that are trying to tell you what you are supposed to identify yourself, and that's something that I find kind of like I don't know if I will be able to deal with it, because if I know where my parents are from, then I'm gonna be identify with what my parents are, with what my parents came from, and all of that, and having somebody that I don't know trying to dictate identity to me is something that I will be having a problem with it. So
I'll, I'll,
I
I'll,
can,
tell, I'll tell you another aspect of it too. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, the reason why I feel that there's certain things about race or whatever the case may be is because you have some people who are ADOS that actually have, I don't know if it's a belief or if I should put it as a belief or a thought system, but like throughout the 1920s, right? You had certain people in the United States that had their organizations. And then when they had their organizations, they have different thoughts or different practices. So when they have their different thoughts and practices, this is where all of this comes around. Like, for example, it actually started during the time of Marcus Garvey. When Marcus Garvey went up and had the Pan African movement, right? Where he wanted like a lot of Black Americans or Caribbean Americans, for that matter, to actually go back to Africa. He actually had boats ready and everything like that for African Americans to
Hmm.
actually leave the United States. What the
Yeah.
United States, when I guess they caught wind of that or whatever the case may be, they went and they deported Marcus Garvey for some bullcrap charge out of the United States. So
Yeah.
so most of his followers, right? Since Marcus Garvey was a Christian, or people that were alongside with Marcus Garvey's philosophy, they went up and they splintered into different groups. One of the groups is the Black Moorish scientists, or Black Moors, which was founded in Chicago. The second thought or religious movement, or what a person could
That
actually
like schools of thought, or
schools of thought or religion, or
Excuse me, Don Armando.
yeah.
For the benefit of Mr. Uganda, can you explain to him what it doesn't mean to be ADOS and FBA?
I'll explain that. The ADOS FBA, I guess, is fundamentally Black American, and ADOS, I know it's African descendants of slavery. If I get that if I get that definition right. So that's what those terms mean. But going back to the schools of thought, one of the schools of thought was the Moorish Temple Science, which originated in Chicago. The other schools of thought or religion were the what is now known as the Nation of Islam. Then you have the Black Hebrew Israelites that actually started in Chicago. And then you have certain movements that actually splintered from that. For example, when the Nation of Islam actually went to New York, you had certain people by the name of a certain guy by the name of Clarence X that went and left the Nation of Islam because he was a gambler. So he went and founded his own school of thought, which is now called the Nation of Gods and Earth, which is actually known as in the street as 5%ers. And then within the Black Hebrew Israelites, there was a lot of school of thoughts, and there's a lot of schools of thoughts within the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. And then with the Black Moorish science, if I'm not mistaken, most of them, they follow Islam. And then I guess from the Black Moorish science, Wallace Fard was a part of that. And then that's when he created the Nation of Islam. So I'm just paraphrasing here, but I know that with some of those movements that actually occurred like in the early 20th century, that's why I believe that certain people with those schools of thoughts will try to tell a person who they are or what they're not. And certain people don't even know where those schools of thoughts actually came from. And they're actually learning from what their parents learned from their parents, and so on.
Okay. Excuse me, Mr. Uganda. Melanated Knight just gave the definition. What does ADOS mean? It's American Descendants of Slaves. Good evening, MK. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Yeah, so I actually know about FBA and ADOS already. The thing with ADOS is that ADOS is both a political sort of initiative and it's a lineage. So it's why it's important for them to establish genealogy and tie that directly to the reparations claim. It's going to stop a lot of other foreign Black groups infringing on these reparations because, you know, if they didn't sort of localize it, and when I say local, I'm being very, very loose with that. But if they didn't localize it to American, which is basically North American, except for Canada, aside from Canada, then you would have a lot of other groups in the Americas claiming the reparations. And so it's a very, very specific set of lineages that are entitled to the reparations claim. I've had a few headbutts with some ADOS people online. Ultimately, I think I get it, which is why I try not to sort of inject my discourse into it because it's going in its own direction, and rightfully so. I think with regards to identity, it's sort of it's a conversation I feel like people don't speak honestly on, because I guess people speak on the right to self-determination, which is a fundamental human right, which I think is recognized by the ECHR, whatever it will be. But I see that people are very duplicitous when it comes to identity, because while people say you can't determine how I identify myself, we see that there's many other areas intersectionally where people feel like they can speak on other people's identities. So, for example, there's a massive conversation being had about transgenders people, and while people may feel like, no, you can't dictate my race, no, you can't dictate what ethnicity I am, people readily sort of give an input onto transgender identity. And so it's just one of those things that I feel like I don't see anything wrong with it, because I don't have an egg in the fight either way. I really don't care. But I just noticed that aspect of human nature where we kind of want people to protect our eggs, but we readily stamp on other people's eggs. And it's just one of those things where it's like, love others as you want others to love yourself. And I'm not saying that to be very, very, I'm not saying that to apply it squarely to the transgender matter, but I'm saying it to say there is a subtle hypocrisy that occurs with a lot of things we do, even as far as when people say, you should abandon your identity as being African and you should just become black. Or when people tell biracial people that you're black or you're white, you're not biracial. It's just one of these things where I feel like people want their identities to be respected, but they don't respect other people's identities. And it's just really, it's really, really intrusive and glaringly hypocritical, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. You were mentioning the whole thing about the so-called transgender. That's a whole other discussion altogether, because that involves kind of like, you know, one group trying to dictate to the majority about pronouns. I mean, when it comes to gender, that's, if you want to use common sense, that is dictated by biology. That's not that dictated by another person. But the thing is that it becomes more of a social thing in which somebody who was born a man and today they want to wake up and say, I'm a woman now, and they want to put on a skirt and a wig, and now they want to get into the women's public restroom. I mean, there is a safety hazard there. That is a problem there. And the thing is that it's only now that there are some of the women that are complaining about that, but it has to do with the sports. For one, when it comes to the sport, because a dude who has all kinds of testosterone flowing through him gets a ponytail and starts to claim that he's a woman, and then participates in women's sports, and he beats everybody, and it's becoming another health hazard. Because, for example, there was a story that I read about rugby. I don't know in which European country it was, where there was a guy who was a rugby player, and he wanted to play in the women's team. So he started identifying as a so-called transgender, calling himself a woman, so he could play on the women's rugby team. And they had to let him, because that was his new identity. And what happened is that he started injuring the female players, because, as you know, rugby is a full contact sport, which is one of the ancestors of American football. And so it's a full contact sport, and there are tackles, and it's rough, and there is tumbling, and people fall down one on top of each other, as you know. And this guy who claimed to be a woman wanted to play rugby with the women and started injuring the women. They were having to take them to the hospital. The guy was fine. The so-called transgender was fine, but that's because he wanted to dictate to others how he should be identified. And now maybe there are a few women that are starting to speak against that because it's not fair to them. But the feminists fought for that, so it's their problem.
I want to chime in here because ultimately, this is something I noticed that subtly creeps into discourse, is that we do exhibit critical thinking, but a lot of what we choose as our running conclusions, it does come from what we hold to be the most significant thing that's dear to us. So I did notice how you sort of leaned on the biological perspective, because that's something you probably value more than anything in that discussion, right? Because for you, I guess biological fact is it's immovable. It's not permeable by, let's say, a lot of our biases. However, a lot of what I see is the issue is that some other people might hold different things as significant. So some people might hold the social factor as significant. And I think the biggest stumbling block I've seen in these critical discussions is that ultimately, as much as we try to be fact-based, a lot of what we hold dear to us ultimately dictates which critical perspective we follow, and that's the true essence of critical thinking. It does factor in what we hold significant, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's why I seldom get involved in that type of discussion, because ultimately I just see people that agree to disagree, which is what I see. What people tend to agree on subtly is that they just hold different things as significant, yet people never arrive at that conclusion, and it's just very, very slow for me. But in this respect, what I will say is this, because something else I did notice in what you said is that he injured the females, and I think that's the thing, is that being a female and a male is biological, whereas a woman and a man is social. And so I think because the terms aren't clearly defined in the spaces, it sort of conflates the two, and it can sort of loses the essence of the topic, because like anyone, you can identify as whatever you want to, and I think we proved that in these discussions. Some people can identify as black even when they're biracial. They can identify as white even though they're biracial. A black person can identify as white, as crazy as it looks, but as far as the male and female thing, that is biological. And so it's important that when the topic is being discussed, the terms have to be used very, 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 very in a very, very sophisticated manner. Because I can imagine that if you were debating someone that was a staunch supporter of, let's say, trans rights, they would sort of catch you in the net of you using the term woman, because the term woman is a social term. So they could sort of just be like, well, I can identify as a woman because you can identify as a woman. I can identify as a man because, yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, that's just one thing I wanted to point out. But nevertheless, I don't really have an egg in the fight. I don't think anything of it. But I do think it was a point to say that this identity thing is very tricky because it is predicated more so on the social thing. I don't think we can really argue against biology, but it's just a lot of what people are arguing about is the social element. And even
I get it. Yeah, I understand. You establish a difference there, and I was using the terms kind of like more interchangeably. But the thing is that the whole thing about as a male being able to be accepted in females' spaces, that's something that the feminists also fought for, and this is something that they are going to have to solve that problem, because females, actually biological women that carry themselves as women, that are in certain sports, like the rugby situation that I just described, or the swimmer, the infamous Leah Thomas, which is born a man, and all he did was get a ponytail, and then he wanted to do swimmer competition, swimming races against women, and and the dude was just destroying everybody, and he wasn't that good competing against men. He wasn't very good competing against men, so he decided to call himself a woman and competing against women so he could destroy them. I mean, no, it's not fair. It's not fair. Now there are women that are complaining against about that, and there have been some limitations that have been put on this guy. But I think that he's still being recognized as being like woman athlete of the year or something like that, even though he still has a chromosome.
Excuse me. This has been very educational and fascinating.
Yep.
But I do need to start to wrap this up because it's getting close to 3 hours that we've been having this stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take closing statements. Now, Mr. Uganda, what I do is I ask each person to state, their final words, and then for those who wish, we have what's called the backstage, where we will just continue the conversation in private. Now, I understand it's early morning in the UK, so most likely you're probably going to get some sleep. But
okay.
I do appreciate.
It just said something about having been drinking a little bit. So you've been up all night, really? Wow.
No, there's at least a 5 or 6 hour difference between New York
about
and
6 hours.
the UK.
Yeah, it's something like that, about 6
hours. So what we're going to do? We're going to take closing statements, and I'm going to ask it. Please try to keep it under 60 seconds. So I'm going to start with the introvert Boricua, and please keep it under 60 seconds.
Yeah, I'll be quick. And first of all, Don Jose, I appreciate you letting me on your panel. I know that I came in late, so I couldn't opine too much on what was the main topic that you were originally talking about. So we touched on different things, on some different subjects. I still appreciate the opportunity to be able to chime in, and I guess we'll have to check the playback so I could get the context of what you were talking about, and I'll check it out, and then it will be just a matter of maybe catching on to the next one from the beginning, so I could chime in properly. But again, I appreciate you letting me on your panel, Don Jose.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to put you in the backstage, introvert Boricua. Now we're going to go to Don Armando. Your final thoughts, and please try to keep it under a minute.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you had in the panel. It was a very educational chat, and it was my first time actually talking to Mr. Uganda. I subscribe to your channel, and I hope that we'll have more support and more of a rapport later on. Thank you, Don Jose.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the backstage. Okay. Now, Mr. Uganda, your final thoughts.
Give me 1 minute, 30 seconds. Okay, I'm kidding. First and foremost, I hope you do frequent the Golden Sphere. I do value your input. I'll leave that alone. Next point, like Gonzalez said, and like I pointed out in my comments section, identity does have its very, very clear limitations. And as far as we want to be able to say, I can identify as what I want, if we discuss it maturely enough, we can start to see holes in just about every identifier. And nearly all identities necessitate that other groups are dealt a bad hand, or that other factions within the group are dealt a bad hand. So that is something to consider, and it's beyond the transgender thing. It is even to do with racial designation. Lastly, Great discussion. It was brilliant speaking to not only the two panelists, but it was really enjoyable for me to see the comments by Latin Splaining with Denise Gonzalez. Yep, it's been a privilege to speak here today, and yep, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on the panel. Like I said, I know it's early morning over there in the UK. Normally, I will ask you to stay for the backstage, but I think you would prefer to get some sleep. So thank you very much, Mr. Uganda. And feel free to enter your comments or join the panel whenever you're able. So thank you very much.
Cool. Good night and thank you.
Good night. Take care. Okay, so now I'm going to give you my final thoughts. To be perfectly honest, it wasn't intent to go this long, but it just goes to show when you have mature adults that can discuss a wide assortment of topics, we can lose track of time very easily. So I just want to say thank you to all the people who entered their comments in the chat. I want to thank all those who've been on the panel, Don Armando, the Intro Bigua, and Mr. Uganda, Hazel, and of course, my cyber daughter, Denise. I just want to let everybody know that I'm going to be live Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the topic is going to be why do we have trolls? Okay. That's something that everyone will have who has a channel will have to deal with. So we will have a discussion. I will share some information. Denise, if you want to join us in the backstage, the link is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the same way that I always close. Do not let the errors of the past damage your future. And we must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged. Because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and mass insanity. That being said, this has been a somewhat lengthy version of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. And I thank you all and good night.
Be strong.